All right, y'all. So now let's get into this because we got to talk about RuPaul's Drag Race, that recap of the Fannie Ballroom Rusical, what is like a combination. Well, it's basically based off of Annie and this chick named Fannie, where they said her ass is natural, which it wasn't. That was the whole joke. And how her and Sandy were off to try to become part of a ball. I mean, a part of a house, actually. She thought the musical was pretty good. Although, and I was like, I was happy, number one, that they brought in someone that actually knows how to do the proper, movements of Vogue, all the elements of Vogue, and taught it to them. Because I was like, I do not want to hear the Vogue purists come on social media and come at the show. Oh, y'all, here y'all go again, no again, no, all the stuff like we've been hearing over the years. Aja, Leomi, couple of ballroom friends that I know, and one of them did say, and I'm gonna tell you what he said in a second. One of my friends who's from the House of Infinity basically was like, "Oh yeah, if it came to certain girls, they would definitely get chopped." But I was like, it was a musical. I didn't take it seriously. I was just glad they got some of the movements and stuff down during the rehearsal. But I wasn't expecting like just perfection and precision, actual interpretations. I was like, as long as they give me good performance, I'm okay with it. But yeah, if you're gonna take from ballroom, at least be right by it. And I think they did that to cover their ass. That's why they brought in that other choreographer alongside Jamal Sims during that sequence. So let's get into the episode. So apparently, the girls are reeling because the house of Dion, that whole family, they lost one of their members, which I was like, wait, so it was Mia Star, which I was kind of upset about that we lost Mia. But when we saw this episode, I was like, you know what? I definitely see why they kept Kenya Pleaser around. Because Kenya, I liked her as the MC, even though a friend of mine said he didn't particularly like Kenya as the MC. But Kenya was giving me like, um, I think they were, you know what I think they was inspired by? The announcer from like the Beyonce Renaissance tour. I think they were kind of inspired by that. But we've always heard announcers who kind of do that whole gravitas with the way they talk over a bitch track. Grew up listening to all of that when I was in my 20s growing up. And I think they took an inspiration from that in regards to this whole situation. So yeah, everybody was upset that Mia left, but I was mad too. But I was like, you know what? I guess they did all they could with her. There was nothing else to give regarding Mia and the personality and all the other stuff. And for this challenge, I don't know if she would have excelled at any of the characters. So based off of the characters that was there, I don't think she would have excelled. I mean, she would have excelled in the dancing department and all the other stuff. But as far as like invoking and embodying certain characters, I don't know if she would be able to pull that off. It would have been nice, but yeah, she squabbled the snatch game as Bloody Mary and she got chopped. Nene Coco won the challenge and joined Juicy as the only two queens with two maxi wins. Jane Don't, is mad that she's falling behind despite 8 straight placements within the top. So she's been in the top, but she hasn't really gotten like up there to be as a force to be reckoned with. And here's the thing. I like Jane Don't. I think she's good on the show. She's been pretty solid with a lot of the challenges. The problem is, I think the production is fucking with her. The producers is messing with her because they looking to create a narrative because they want to get her mad and they want to create discourse. Speaking of discourse, let's talk about Discord because I think y'all trying to do that with her too, and Discord is not taking the bait. So y'all trying to create drama where there isn't, and I think that's why a lot of people are looking at this season as a little crunchy. And you hear comments from, I even think Candy Muse was kind of saying it too when she did a stream with Mistress Isabel Brooks and Vanjie. I'm kind of agreeing with her, and I'm kind of agreeing with Plain Jane. There aren't any real standout queens on this season. Like I'm looking at the girls that I could definitely see in the top, like my top three would literally be okay, Jane Don't, I see Nene Coco, and I see Mikey Meeks. Those are who I feel like is gonna make it all the way to the end. But looking at it, I'm just like whoever wins, okay, whatever. Not that enthused or excited. So I think that's kind of like where everybody's feeling. Like it's a good I mean, it's good to watch, but it's nothing as like it's not. This season is just not memorable. I guess is what it is, and I don't think you have the forced drama to make it memorable. I just feel like this is no standout moments. Although I do say it was a solid Rusical. I did think this was one of the stronger Rusicals we've had in a minute. So yeah, so this week the final eight basically did they bridged the gap between Broadway musical and ballroom voguing, where they came out with Fannie, the hard knock ball Rusical, which of course is based on Annie and Paris is Burning. And then we had Benny Blanco, who is Selena Gomez's husband, who was also a producer, a record producer. He was a guest judge alongside Rue, Michelle, and Jamal Sims, who got to sit on the panel as well. So that was good to have him there. And then you know, so we basically had all of that where they did the mini challenge where they had the grinder. I hardly even know her. You know, I hate when they say that thing. I hardly ever know her. Like that is such a time. Like I just think that the whole line that they always say on the show is stupid. It's not funny. Come up with something else. So basically, they did that thing. I already saw that in the previews on YouTube. So I pretty much fast forwarded through that. I didn't care. And shout out to well, you see Mikey here and Darlene Mitchell as what did you say? Her name was Brandy, the dog. I thought Darlene did a good job with the dog. It was pretty funny. And Mikey, who knew that bitch had pipes on her? I never laughed so hard than I did in this episode. I was laughing a lot watching some of the stuff. And I thought Mikey did a phenomenal job with the vocals. So um now after that, so they did the mini challenge. I didn't particularly care for the mini challenge, so we could move on from that. Then because they basically said that during the challenge, Athena was most believed to lie and that she's versed, most likely to hook up while in drag, and most likely to lie about her age and her profile. Then they said something about Nene, most likely to put mass on her profile. That's what I said. It was so stupid. I didn't care. So then they did the musical. They had to divvy up the performances on who's gonna play what, and you always know there's got to be a clash. So the girls got their first choice. Kenya got to play Grace Gaultier. Discord played Lil Salty. Juicy was Cecile Cartier, which sidebar was Juicy giving us Ice Spice because she was looking a little Ice Spice-ish in that whole ensemble that she was wearing. I'm like, is Ice Spice up there? Because she was getting that's what they kind of look like. But anyway, so there was that. Then I said Darlene was, hey, excuse me, Brandy. Athena was Mama Big Bucks, who was like the mother of the house. And then Jane was Miss Shenanigans. I'm like, that's funny, but y'all named her that. The only contention, now the drama started between Mikey and Nene, where Mikey wanted to basically play the central role of Fannie. Then Nene wanted to step up because she's like, I want to play it because I don't want to play Big Pepper. Which, to be honest, when we watched it, you did good as Big Pepper. I guess because she didn't want to have to play a role similar and match with Discord. So that's probably like what because they were playing like the girls that lived under Miss Shenanigans with their the outfits they mopped because mop is an old term in case of those you didn't notice from back in the day. Mop means stealing. So that's basically, I think, what they were trying to play off of. And I guess she probably thought it was just some basic role. But girl, just be safe this week. Like you don't need to, if you're not somebody who can sing the house down, if you're not somebody that can carry that much in the whole thing, if that's not you, don't try to take on more than you can do. And I felt like she was overthinking it. And then everybody cover their face and like all that. I'm like, okay, y'all all need to calm the fuck down because y'all was getting on my nerves with all of that. So, but then again, so then they're going back and forth. Nene is being indecisive like she was previous. And then all of a sudden she decides, I'll play the part. Because then she tried to go after Athena's role, which Athena, you probably should have switched because you was not good in that role that you played. You thought being the mother of a house, you thought it was going to be similar to you actually being a mother of the house in real life. It's like, no, you got to be able to, it's a character. So you got to be able to bring a little extra. Like, did you not see? Like, you don't think about old ballroom girls and how they do, and also on top of that, think Annie and that whole like you have to use reference points when you're acting. And I did notice during certain parts during her performance that she wasn't fully in the role. Like there would be like even when you have even in the subtle moments, you have to be performing. Where it's just like, yeah, I'm in this character, I'm in the pocket, and I'm out of it. So, at the end of the day, Mikey and then we're going back, and Mikey and Nene were going back and forth. Mikey ended up being Fannie. Nene took the role of Big Pepper, and then Nene got flustered and made the final decision to give Fannie back to Mikey and took Big Pepper for herself. So they were going back and forth on that, and it was getting frustrating. Then she tried to go after Athena's role, like I said before, and Athena was trying to fight her, and I was like, maybe you should have switched. So then Jane don't, then they came up and then they recorded their vocals, had me cackling. Then they had to get to the choreography, which we saw, of course, they do what they usually do. Some of the girls excel, some of the girls struggle. And then they had to, so they laid down their vocals with Leland and Gabe Lopez. When I watched, speaking of Gabe, I had no idea he passed away because they dedicated something to him at the end. And I was like, wait, wasn't it just the guy we just saw at the beginning of the thing when they was recording the music? But they said this episode was dedicated to him. So shout out to him. I don't know what happened, but they paid trip, they dedicated the episode to him. So they laid down their vocals, it was cute or whatever. um of course Mikey gagged everybody with her vocals. I definitely laughed when Jane was doing Miss Shenanigans and recording the vocals. I thought that was pretty funny. Kenya definitely ate. I don't care what nobody say, she definitely was going to be the perfect, and that's why I said they knew based off of the next challenge, Kenya definitely was going to give personality, and they needed that for the thing. They probably felt they can get more of that from Kenya Pleaser than Mia. So unfortunately, you got to realize it's a reality show and it's the way the cookie crumbles. So, and then Discord, I thought was relatively funny because she was nervous about the choreography, and then we seen her do the performance. I'm like, she get rhythm. So yeah, she may not have been perfect, but she was on it when it came to, and she and Nene were in sync with the choreography and stuff. So I was definitely shocked that Discord was the one that really pulled through in regards of the dancing. Because we see how she walk, and she always says she got two left feet, but bitch, that day you didn't have it. So um, but then they said that Discord, but maybe it's not much to go on because Discord and Nene aren't the best dancers. So I mean, Nene ain't the best dancer either. So now we get to the Rusical, and Kenya and Jane, as I said before, they did relatively well. They overshadowed their scene partners, which I was saying because I felt that Juicy got overshadowed, definitely. And Athena, during her performance or whatever, it was like even some of her dancing was a little stiff, but then it was like I said, in certain little moments, she didn't really have the strongest situation. So I already predicted at that point. I said, I totally see what y'all about to do. What y'all about to do is y'all gonna have, and it was so obvious, y'all were literally gonna have mother and daughter lip sync towards each other. It was clearly so obvious the way they did that. It was like even Helen Keller could have seen that shit coming. So, but like I said, Darlene was in a tough spot. I thought sharing scenes with Mikey, but I will say Darlene held her own, and she brought her own essence to that part. So she was good in that. So shout out to Darlene because she definitely, did her thing. And so top performances for me, Mikey, of course. Um, Discord I thought was good enough, but she was safe. And Jane Don't, I thought did a great job. I also thought Kenya Pleaser did a good job. So those are like my top faves during the performance. And even Darlene, but Darlene's definitely gave me safe. So which she was, so she got to go to the back. Then they came out with the beige against the machine category. And I actually liked some of the looks. Particularly, I love Jane Done's look. It was very drag. I didn't particularly like Athena's. Athena definitely was giving me like she was gonna go pluck wheat. I like Discord's look, but and funny enough, I thought Mikey was gonna win, but I think they probably felt like, you know what, at this point, we've been pulling this girl's chain enough. Let's give it to Miss Shenanigans. So um Jane don't ended up winning the challenge. So Good on her because I was like, y'all not gonna keep playing in her face. So then it came down to the bottom, which of course was Juicy because I felt like, yeah, Juicy was she's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna excel this challenge because I could dance. I'm like, girl, you gotta come with more than just being a technical dancer, and you gotta have personality and you gotta have that whole vibe that goes with that. And I don't think you brought it, and neither did Athena. I already said, like, I do not see the House of Dion making it all the way to the end. And so, yeah, now let's get down to the lip sync. I was disappointed in the lip sync. I really feel like this season, there's been some of the choppiest, messiest, crunchiest lip syncs in the history of this show. This would be a short ass season with the amount of double sachets they would possibly give to a lot of these queens. Because I don't understand. Drag 101, aren't you supposed to know the lyrics to the songs? Which Kenya never seems to know when she gets up to the lip sync. I'm just throwing it out there in general. And then on top of that, it's like none of it is memorable. Just because y'all doing dips and flipping around and doing all kinds of crazy choreography, that's not enough to keep me interested. Y'all doing the same, y'all reheating the same damn nachos that we've been seeing for previous seasons. So I'm not really impressed over these lip syncs anymore like I used to when from all the years of watching the show. But I guess when it's 18 seasons, what are you gonna do, right? So it came down to mother and daughter, and I wasn't even that excited over the song choice. Call Me When You Break Up, which is a song Benny Blanco, Selena Gomez, and Gracie Abrams. The song was even meh. So I wasn't really feeling it. But at the end of the day, the Greek goddess had to sashay away and Juicy got to stay. So what will be, I guess, presented with next week on the next episode is they're walking in the break room. Juicy's breaking down and crying and probably feeling alone. Oh my God, I sent my mother home. All that shit that they got to play up. And we'll see if she survives next week's episode. I don't even remember when next week's episode is. But I think it's another acting challenge or something or another. But yeah. So um and I said this, and I'm gonna say it on the camera. I said on social media because Rue tried to say, "Oh yeah, that line alone should give me an Emmy." I'm like, "Sis, you're not getting the Emmy this year. No shade." Even though I was disappointed with the Traitors this season too, because it just ended. Um, I think the Traitors gonna walk away again with the Emmy. So shout out to Juicy and Athena. I know they're going to be on. Well, they already filmed it, but for the general public, will be able to see it tomorrow. They're going to be on Roscoe's Tavern in Chicago, so they'll be on that episode, and y'all can sit and see them. Everybody gag over the fact that in real time, when you have them there, that one of them got eliminated. So yeah, whatever. I just say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? Did you watch the episode? What were your overall thoughts? I will say this is like I said before, this is the strongest Rusical we've had in quite a while. Because I've been kind of disappointed with the Rusicals, but this one was actually pretty entertaining. I was thoroughly entertained by what I was seeing. The songs was good, the performances was good for the most part, and it was a pretty funny episode leading up to the performance. So I definitely want to hear from y'all. What do you think of this episode? And do you agree that there are no real stars with or there's no real queens with star quality that are standing out that makes you excited? Like this season doesn't have a Bob the Drag Queen or Bianca Del Rio or who else or any of the big previous winners that we've had, a Sasha Colby or any of those girls, or I was gonna say, or even a Ginger Minge, but she won All Stars. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below.